Go live.
All right. And there it is.
All right. I'm sure it's perfect now
Yep.
because you just turn it off and on.
Mm-hmm. Resets the RAM and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Knew I shouldn't have tried to save a Google document. Brett S. WB. Warner Brothers. Dr. Jokel. Woohoo! Part 16.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Why don't you just download more RAM?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
There's something, because it's so, every time it does that, it's identical. The problem. So there's something very specific happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, it's very random. Seemingly when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you probably can't download as much porn before the stream this time.
It's the same amount every day, though, so you'd think.
Yeah. Yeah, but you had a Photoshop open for 1 second yesterday.
Demon Jester, hello. Where did you get that mini? These are, I think it's called Bad Santa from Anvil Industries. You get Santa, Tacticool Santa, and 2 elves. I think it's like $20. So yeah, from Anvil Industries, which is probably the finest resin mini wargame company. I mean, it's definitely better than
Forge World.
Oh my god, is it better than the Forge World? It's definitely better than Games Workshop Finecast too. I mean, saying it's better than Forge World is like saying it exists.
Wow. Look at all that hate for Forge World.
I think they earned it by being bad, or just by not improving ever.
Mm-hmm. Wait, but I thought you were a Games Workshop fanboy.
I am
and you
a
just
Games
love
Workshop
Games
fanboy.
Workshop so much.
There goes
Why
the
would you
potential
say
Games
such a
Workshop
mean thing?
sponsorship. Holy cow! If they sponsored us, I would shill so hard. Look at how great these new Primaris models are, and so affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, instantly.
Only using the paint handle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's easy to have integrity when you're making no money. So I don't know how successful this is going to be, but I'm trying to paint like a white stripe at the water line, or I suppose like the alcohol line.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully when I glaze on top of this, it'll kind of show that a little.
Mm-hmm. Alkaline.
Yeah. See, what you gotta do is you gotta Sharpie, you gotta make a Sharpie mark and then date it. That way you can tell if people are stealing your booze.
Yeah.
Demon Jester is heading out. Good night.
Good night and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
In the grim darkness of the far future Christmas, there is only war.
Mm-hmm.
brush. I need a slightly bigger brush. There we go. I wonder what we should do for next year's Christmas song. Probably not do a song.
I think Santa Baby.
Oh my god. Emperor
I'm thinking.
Baby. Forgot to mention one little thing.
That's what it is. And there you go. Sponsored by Games Workshop.
Hi, Jay here. Jay from EonsOfBattle here. Today we're going to review the new Games Workshop Citadel dropper bottles. Oh my god. You know what though? I think they would make, if they did that, I think they would make a lot of people like really happy. Like I think that that's probably an easy thing they could do that would make people be like, huh, I guess Games Workshop isn't evil.
And so would they be dropper bottles that you put your paint pots in?
Oh, that would be even funnier. Yeah. The only problem I think is that their current like whole paint system is based on like not using a paint palette or not using a wet palette and taking paint from the pot. So they'd kind of have to change their whole system.
Right. And I feel like at the end of the day, it's just to serve beginners.
Yeah. Yeah, very few people stick with Games Workshop paints.
Mm-hmm.
As like their, main paints.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they like certain colors or whatever.
It would be funny to see you doing a sponsored build review of Lord of Skulls, the one you hate. Yeah, I mean, if they didn't let me kit bash it at all, that'd be pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can do a lot with paint to save it, but...
Yeah, I also think that our paint job is boring.
Yeah.
Not that great.
They could just release the official Games Workshop Primaris palette. Oh, that'd be hilarious.
That's a great.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of weak burps.
I just bought a Mephiston Red. Where did it go? There it is. Mephiston Red is kind of a weird look, because it seems like Mephiston Red is the red they use for the their little like accent splash thing. Because it's hard to make out the...
Yep.
Let me grab another paint for reference.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though is they have the black text to be white.
Huh.
Weird.
This is interesting.
I think the white looks better.
I think the white looks better too. It's a little easier to read.
I wonder if the text must have always been white on their black paints.
Probably.
Yeah, let's wish list. What could Games Workshop do to make everyone happy in 2021? Probably stop making primary stuff.
Oh my god. That'd be good. Paints in dropper bottles and not in pots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The airbrush line is in pots.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
at least have that in dropper bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Hire Duncan Rhodes again.
Oh, yeah. Bring back squats. Yep, bring back squats. Joy Flores, more Zoats. Wait, I needed the Mephiston for a reason. Where did I put it? Bring back the colors and paint quality of the 90s. Were the paints of higher quality in the 90s?
That's what people say.
That is what people say. We're like some colors are always going to be good. Were the yellows and whites from the 90s better? Cuz I have a hard time feeling like I don't know, I have a hard time believing that they just decided to make everything worse.
I'm sure their formula could change over time. Or maybe they use some cheaper materials. Brand MJ Painting. Hello, everyone. Time to watch, listen, and hang out as I also try to paint.
Yeah! No one paints. We all try. Do or do not. There is no try. Bring out some 40k Skaven. That would be really cool.
Love a good Skaven.
Brett S. 90s paints were okay. A little different, but I wouldn't say they're better or worse. Dr. Jokel, they started using inferior manufacturers. They don't make the paint themselves. Do you know their manufacturers?
Well, because isn't that the thing with the coat to arms?
I don't know how
isn't
Coat to Arms... Yeah, Coat to Arms supposedly has the original recipes or something. Or colors that match the original colors.
Yeah, so how does... Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's all about equal. All the different paint ranges.
But us, the pots were just as bad in different ways. Amazing.
Did the Games Workshop used to use Jimmy, but now they use Sam, and Sam lets the paint go to... he's let the paint go a little.
What else? Well, a lot of people like to complain about Age of Sigmar. So just throw that whole thing out.
Yeah. As long as they never bring back the clear, hard plastic pots with the screw-on lids. Those were garbage. I've heard people say those were great. I've also heard that they're garbage.
I mean, everything's garbage. Everything was always garbage, and everything is always garbage.
No, everything was perfect when, back in the day.
Well, everything was perfect when we started.
Yeah.
Or when you individually started.
Back in the day changes for every different person. But everything was better back in the day.
Yeah, there were cooler models. Everything was cheaper.
You got paint on the threads of the screw-on lids, and it glued itself shut. Yes, Vallejo liquid golds. Holy cow! I have to open them with pliers every time. just wrong. Those
Put
could
it
be
in
in
a dropper
droppers.
bottle.
Yeah. I wonder if since they're alcohol based, I wonder if if it's too thin for dropper bottles. I wonder if they'd leak because they're
Probably.
really watery.
They are really water. Well, they're really alcohol-y.
Yeah.
They're alcoholics.
Joy Flores quoting a little MC Chris. Fet's vet. Dr. Jokel. Never had that problem as I was plenty careful with it, but my brand new pots would dry out in a matter of months, no matter how hard I put the lid on. So let's get the time frame exactly right. So you buy like this new Mephiston Red. I've opened it, I put the lid on, and this sits in my bin. What does dry out mean? Is it gonna, because it's not gonna be dry in months. I don't think.
I mean, if it was open.
If it was open, it'd probably dry out. Joey the Soulless.
Hey, if you don't buy any paints, nothing will dry out.
That is true.
If you don't paint or do anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit in a room quietly without having bought anything, it won't dry out.
Yeah. Like pots are worse than droppers. But I don't know, maybe if you live in like a really dry climate.
A dryment?
But I just don't think they dry out that fast. If dry out means like the pigments have like cured and it's unusable, I could maybe see that happening. I think this worked out perfectly, except I did it wrong. I think the white should have been on top and the black should have been on the bottom.
Oh.
How much time have I got? I think I can probably fix
30
it.
minutes. Mm-hmm. They make... Huh?
I just thinking, though, I use the Zenithal, and I can't use the Zenithal if I repaint the whole thing. But, whatever. I'll do it.
Just paint over the entire model.
Mm-hmm.
Just start from scratch.
Or is it fine? Joey Flores. I just opened a new pot of Games Workshop paint. Turned into a block of acrylic instantly. See, I have heard of that happening. That's pretty common.
Exactly. Brett, they make alcohol inks in dropper bottles. It's like water. No reason they couldn't make droppers for the liquid gold.
Yeah.
What if it had a what if it was like the Higgins ink, where it has the squeezinator.
That'd probably be best. Because that's what I do currently. I use a pipette to get the liquid gold out and onto a separate container.
I think that's what they should do. Mm-hmm. Would you be willing to spend more money, though, for that?
Mm-hmm. No. It's already a little pricey.
Yeah.
Dr. Jokel. The paint would literally go chunky within weeks, gooey within a month to 2 months, and rock hard within 4 to 5 months. It was all colors, but white and black were the worst. Maybe I have bad painter overall. I wonder if different areas get different paint?
I don't know. I would chalk it up to climate.
Yeah, it's got to be climate, because every paint I think every paint I own is fine. And I own a lot of
because I've taken
pots.
I took Yeah, I think I have mostly pots. I took my paints from Illinois to Wisconsin, which is like the same,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And then all the way to California, and then all the way back to Illinois. So I've lived in some different climates, and some of those California days were really quite warm.
And all your paint is dry now.
Yeah, none all of some of the paint was a little not doing great, but I was able to revive it. Everything came back. Some of the Vallejo ones were messed up,
Mm-hmm.
but they came back. I just and what you do is you take it out on a date. You show it you show it a good
Mm-hmm.
time out. You show that you can trust it or that I can trust you, and then it comes right back.
If you love it, let it go, and then if it comes back, it's yours.
Exactly.
I live in Kentucky, so it's not an arid climate by any means. Huh.
Yeah, I mean it's basically the same climate
Yeah.
here.
So I don't
Very
know. I guess
similar.
you just
Not
have some
that-
bad
not that
luck.
different.
I mean, I guess we'll see. I bought a few new paints recently. I don't buy a lot of Games Workshop because it's more expensive than other companies. But we'll see. We'll see what happens to them. This Mephiston Red is only a few weeks old, and looks perfect.
Well, just you wait.
Mm-hmm. I open it tomorrow when it's rock hard. I know, but it is a weird thing, though. A lot of people report tons of problems, and a lot of people report no problems. Like, I know Midwinter had a lot of his paints go bad. I think Miniac has said that his paints are all fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's very odd.
It's very odd. It might be maybe there's different batches.
Mm-hmm.
The batches are different. I don't know. Because I would assume they're not that big of an operation where there's different factories and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it's the same factory, it's just different batches.
That's what I would guess. Maybe Games Workshop should just go ahead and put their paint in droppers. It'd be really funny is they put their paint in droppers and it still goes bad, and so people are like, it's the formula.
It's even worse.
Mm-hmm. You know what I find, though? I find almost all dropper bottles... Oop. This one kind of pooped out a little paint. Did any of it get on the elf? This one's not the best example, but I always get paint kind of... They're always messy on the tip. Like, almost
they are.
always. And this is paint wastage.
Yeah.
So I don't think droppers are like this amazing perfection thing. And I kind of doubt AliExpress dropper bottles are even better than the nice Vallejo ones or Army Painter ones.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe just keep an eye on your paints. Give them a little extra water when they need it. Let them, take them to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Give
Help
them a
'em wipe.
wash. Yeah. That could be your New Year's resolution.
Mm-hmm.
You spend a little time taking care of your paints.
Dr. Drokel, I think that has been the issue overall, the inconsistency in quality. I hear a lot of people saying that they will get different shades hues when buying the same color again. Interesting. I know Vallejo will often update their colors based on like what pigment they can buy and stuff. And so I know that different batches of their paints are just different colors. That's something with Vallejo. I don't know if they're all like that, and they just don't report it.
It's a little, that could be annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Vallejo probably reports it just because they're so kind of art focused. Whereas I think like Army Painter and Games Workshop are probably in the same boat where they're kind of strictly for hobbyists.
Right. And like, well, if they report it, what are you supposed to do?
That's true.
Like, the moral of the story is paint all of your stuff really quickly.
Yeah. Well, I think anyone who would notice those sorts of changes are someone who can probably handle them.
Yeah, probably.
Like, hey, this blue isn't quite as purpley as the last batch. I guess I'll add a little purple. Whereas for most people, like for me, I'd probably just be like, it's blue!
Yeah, right.
And it's still blue. Ooh, that makes sense. Guitar makers last year had to stop using a common type of wood due to supply. So did they switch to like 3D printing guitars?
Using filament.
What types of wood are guitars made out of? Does it matter?
Probably does for the sound quality.
But like, what's the good stuff?
I don't know. I'm sure someone will tell us. I think I would assume like the density matters for sound quality or something.
Can you use a nice poplar? Or some elm? Maybe a little hickory? I remember in high school I was taking woodshop and the teacher built a guitar. And it was pretty sweet. I think he wasn't overly happy with it though. He took a bunch of different fine woods and glued them together and then made the guitar out of that. And it looked really cool on the neck. Because I think on the neck he used many, many pieces. It looked a little bit less impressive on the body because he only used a few. Kind of read. It matters acoustically as far as electric. Or it matters acoustically as far as electric. There isn't much proof it does anything. Or it does. That makes sense. How does an electric guitar work? Like, how does it...
I think there's some sort of a sensor that picks up the vibrations. Then magically turns that into something that goes through the amp. And then that's where your sound comes from. I am a scientist. That is, those are scientific terms. Exactly.
Brett S. Didn't he say it was like $29 a bottle? Dr. Joke watched Squidmar's video today testing mirror chrome paint. Not sure why he was using a rough wooden board as his test piece, though. No metallic paint ever looks good on wood. Yeah, for metallics, you want like a really high gloss, probably black base coat. And $27 is probably not that bad if like you're painting like a Mandalorian armor or something. But yeah, for models, you're probably not quite gonna work out. The tricky thing with chrome and models is that like chrome looks different in scale than it does in real life. So even if you achieve a really nice chrome, it's gonna make your models look like small toys instead of like scale soldiers. Mahogany, ebony, rosewood, maple, and basswood are probably the most common guitar woods. And then it has 2 pickups, which are magnets, or 1 pickup, low. The magnets pick up the vibration of the magnetic strings when then interprets that as a sound wave.
See, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm gonna have to learn all about this when I'm building my my Mad Max guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want it to work. How good do you think a guitar would sound that's made of steel? Probably great.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder though. I'll have to look up because people have made guitars out of all sorts of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's strategies.
There probably is. Brett, it was $29 for a bottle the size of a Vallejo bottle.
Woo! That is pricey. If it really is chrome though, I think it could be worth it. Chrome is very hard to do. And yeah, your best chances are always going to be over a very, very glossy, shiny, smooth base.
Did it look good?
I didn't watch the video. Hopefully it looked good for $30.
I mean, I've seen a bunch of people use chrome paint, and I don't know. I feel like it always looks kind of cheap. Like it I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just looks like you sprayed it with chrome. Like I guess maybe you had to do stuff after the fact.
Mm.
But I don't think it ever looks that great.
Yeah, it's really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, real chroming is like chroming. It's not painting.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people do really cool non-metallic metal chrome.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's where it lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I don't know. I've seen a lot of people on Paint Hub and stuff do some chrome stuff. It always looks not that great.
Yeah, I find it. Yeah, it always makes it look like you put chrome spray paint on a model.
Even if they bought nice stuff.
Yeah.
Or they use something real. I've even seen like I think Green Stuff World has a chrome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it looks that good. I know it's some hot takes.
Mm-hmm. Kind of read. Most people use wood out of ease of work. You can just make flat panels of another material and mechanically join it to the guitar with industrial glue or bolts if you want. Huh. Well, let's say I use because the guitar is made with real guitar necks, but then the necks are attached to essentially nothing. They're attached to a piece of steel strip, and then the sensor and the end of the strings are attached to more pieces of steel. So there kind of is no body of the guitar, but maybe that's not a big deal if it's an electric guitar. Because the body of the guitar is fake. It's made out of a toilet bowl and a trombone and a flamethrower.
Dr. Drokel and Brett say that it gave a nice mirror look on the test models, but it was hard to paint on top of it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I bet you almost can't. Because as soon as you start doing that, you're going to lose a lot of your luster.
Mm.
One really nice way to do kind of a chromey thing is to rub either rub and buff, which is like it's aluminum powder inside of wax. That can give you a nice chrome. or rubbing charcoal. You spray a you spray gloss black paint on something. You let it dry, and then you rub graphite, like pencil lead graphite, into it, and you really buff it, and it'll look really, really shiny, kind of gunmetal-y silver. Dr. Drokel, I think the Molotov chrome would do the same, much cheaper. Yeah, that's some really good stuff. I have a pen of it. Dr. Drokel, yeah, rub and buff is how most people do their Jango Fett armor. Yeah. Yeah, I love rub and buff. Sometimes you gotta rub it, and sometimes you gotta buff it. Just don't rub your buff in public.
Yeah, people got in trouble for that.
Mm-hmm.
Which rightly so.
And that's under $10 for the pen. That is true. I remember before Molotov made the refills, and the refills aren't even refills. They're just like, these are for airbrushing, but don't tell anyone it's for airbrushing. I know people would buy the pens and then carefully hacksaw off the end of them and pour that into their airbrush.
Oh my god.
And you know what? It worked. I think the only thing with the Molotov is it's not very sturdy. But you also don't want to varnish it, because then you're going to lose some of your sheen.
Brett S., I know a couple of streets where you can get a rub and buff pretty cheap.
Ah.
That's a good thing to know. You never know. Connor Reed, the inventor of the electric guitar, has a quote saying that the mechanics are so open-ended people can make them any material shape or configuration as long as the basics are there.
Neat.
Interesting. Connor Reed is a guitar expert, it sounds like.
Yeah. I know the actor who played the character Coma, who was the one who used the guitar in the movie, was a real musician, and he said it sounded like shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that it did work.
Mm-hmm. Connor Reed, I'm a big fan of experimental guitars. Yeah. Very cool. It is a pretty neat world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think string instruments string instruments are actually pretty cool because they don't just get full of spit.
I mean, maybe not the way that you play them.
That's true. And they don't tarnish like a lot of metal instruments do. So you don't have to keep them in a case.
Mm-hmm. I know someone who went to high school with, he was such a professional French horn player that he got his very nice French horn de-lacquered because he felt like the lacquer affected the sound quality too much.
Wow. That can't be real.
The people say it is.
Huh.
There's a certain sound quality that the lacquer adds. Like the gold, like the plating.
But doesn't
And
the
stuff.
tarnish... Isn't the tarnish gonna also... I mean,
Yes.
unless you're constantly cleaning it.
Yes. But it doesn't matter what it looks like. It just matters if it
That's
plays
true.
perfectly.
I have never once played ever at the level where my instrument was the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's how good he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I think I'm gonna spend a lot of money getting the plating removed and delacquering it.
He should have just taken it home and taken a little sandpaper to it.
Yeah. No. I think he got it done professionally. Imagine that though.
Yeah.
Couple $1,000 French horn.
Yeah.
Just start.
That's a crazy world once you start getting into like the nitty gritty of those instruments.
But like that was his thing. Was the French horn. Nothing existed besides that.
I know flutes are pretty crazy too. Although flutes are nice because they're so small. I still think though that the industry should move in the direction of neoprene pads. There's no reason for the pads to like be made out of like weird cottony fibers that go bad almost instantly if you take them outside. And it's weird, even the nice flute, or even the like crap flutes, like they make like blue flutes that are meant for like high schoolers, and even those have the nice pads that you have to replace every year.
Yeah.
Craig Turpin just dropping by to say happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy
Well,
holidays
I'm
to you as
triggered.
well.
It's Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
No, it's
rude.
whatever. Obviously. It's whatever someone says. And happy cold part of the year. Perfect. Dr. Drokel, I wonder...
Happy year's ending.
Happy Festivus. A Festivus for the rest of us. That was Seinfeld. I wonder if the nickel plating on some instruments changes the sound. I often saw silver trumpets and trombones in other bands. That is true. Some of them are different. I wonder what that is.
Yeah, because you can get it. There's people you can get it in like you can get like a copper coating, silver, brass.
Presumably nickel would be the strongest coating. Maybe like nickel is like if you're going to be taking your instrument outside.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of different platings. I know like I played some. I know like I played a copper plated like trumpet before. It's very mellow. They're very mellow compared to like a nickel plated one. But that could be the plating, that could be how it's manufactured, that could be anything.
Dr. Drokel, I removed all the plating from my cowbell. I just couldn't hear enough cowbell.
Exactly.
I should have played the cowbell.
Cowbell players do that.
No, I was a very good third chair flute. And fourth chair if it was available. Usually it wasn't. But so I think there was one song where there was a fourth chair part.
Yep.
You know what though? I was consistently bad. Or not consistently bad, but I was consistent. Like I would get I would get all my notes right most of the time. They would sound bad.
But you sure would get them.
Oh my god! I remember one year we had the best flute player in the school. in the crappy loser band. And so they picked a song that really took advantage of that. And so there was like a flute solo, and the flute solo, it had to be broken up between two flute players because no one had like the breath to get through it. And so the first part of the solo would sound amazing, just unbelievably good. And then that flute player would drop out and another flute player would take over, and it sounded like garbage. Because we had, perfection and then pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. I do like the flute, though. I think if I was ever to play an instrument again, it'd still be the flute.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Would you ever join a for fun band?
Probably not.
Yeah, I would never do it.
I know a friend of ours did that.
Yes, I remember her telling me about it. I remember she was trying to convince me to join one of those when I was living in California, and I didn't do it.
I can definitely see the appeal. It definitely seems like fun.
No, it sounded like a lot of fun when she was explaining it to me. Dr. Drokel, did they pass the flute during the solo like a baton race in track and field?
Yes, they did. They actually tossed it the last little distance. I know. I had a flute that was like it was the nicest, worst flute you could get, but people would make fun of me because it had it wasn't gold-plated mouthpiece, but it looked like gold. It's whatever, like tungsten carbide or whatever. And so people are like, "Oh, is your flute fancy?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, it's very fancy." It was not fancy. Although before that, I was using an eBay special.
eBay special.
It's like a $40 flute.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It got me through many a year of band.
Yeah.
And I actually have a very nice piccolo, but it's an all steel Gemeinhardt piccolo, which is probably why it was so cheap, because it sounds like ass. And in my limited ability to play the flute well, it sounded even worse. Yeah, usually you want them made out of wood, ideally, or else plastic.
Mm-hmm.
You do not want them made out of all metal. Maybe I should take the plating off.
Yeah, then I think that would fix your playing. That'd fix everything.
Mm-hmm. That is literally a baton. A piccolo is like, what, 8 inches? Maybe a little less.
Mm-hmm.
They're hilarious. And they're way louder than regular flutes. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There should only
used
be
them in marching band.
Yeah, there should only be piccolos in marching bands.
Yeah, there usually is, except for our school.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't have any piccolos to give out.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to buy any because they're expensive. I think there was one game where John Clemens let me use my piccolo, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, "Hey, look what I got!" And he's like, "Ah, cool. Are you gonna play that today?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Sweet." And then I think Gore told me I couldn't anymore, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, marching band has to sound good.
Yeah. Maybe they were concerned too many people would hear me play.
There you go. You know what? We were all thinking it, but you just said it out loud.
Dr. Jokel. I can play a pretty sweet recorder. I can play pretty mean 3 blind mice.
Ooh, man.
Dave Dog. I play the bamboo flute like Kane in Kung Fu. And Connor Reed, somewhere out there, someone owns a one-of-a-kind master-crafted recorder, and it still sounds like shit. The recorder, I mean, presume that the recorder is based off of a real instrument that's nice, right?
I wonder if the recorder came first.
Probably. I wonder
I'm
if...
sure.
Do you think the first recorder... Do you think the Caveman recorder was also bought at Walgreens?
Yes, it was. Ooh, Lucky Bread. Give it a good hot cross buns.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can play hot cross buns,
Mm-hmm.
you know you're really going.
All right. I think I'm going to declare these guys done. Even though they're not 110% done. The only thing left, though, I think this guy, both of their faces could use a little bit more accenting. Even though they're both wearing, like, black stuff on their faces, so it's a little tricky. This guy's knife could use a highlight pass. But other than that, I think they are... Well, they're going to be finished for stream.
Yeah. We're going to move on to something else.
Yeah. So everybody, probably our Patreon members will pick the next thing.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, obviously you have to subscribe to the Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the squad all together. Joey Flores posting on Instagram. They will be on Instagram. I don't know when, but they will be up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take me a little while to do all the little touch-ups and then also base them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're very cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I definitely think I'm the only person who's painted the elves.
Jerry Flores. So next stream when? Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday's the next stream. We're gonna take the next 2 days off for the holidays.
Yeah. I'm gonna eat so much eggnog.
Christmas.
Yeah, I'm just gonna eat Christmas. Just put big handfuls of Christmas in my mouth.
Yeah, that's what I do.
But yeah, everyone have a happy holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, if you will.
Yeah.
And our next video will be on Friday, though.
Yes,
we'll have a video on Friday, and then we have a video out today, and then our next stream is on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
All right. Bye.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Happy holidays.
And